Hello, folks. My name is Jerry B. from Pride and Glory Travel Cruise Planner, and I'm here to tell you about our Where to Next 2026 vacation calendar. Starting off with May 2nd on Freedom of the Seas, Royal Caribbean, going out for 5 days. Then we're doing our land and air vacation. You asked for it. Here we're going out to Vegas and 6 days over in Hawaii and just having a blast. And this kicks off on June 17th. Then another one you asked for, we head back out to Alaska again on July 26th on the beautiful ship Celebrity Edge. Then in October, another trip you asked for. We heading over to Aruba and Carousel. This is going out October 17th on Allure of the Seas. And then our biggest trip of the year is on Allure of the Seas, November 29th, which is our hog biker cruise. You don't need to be a hog or biker to attend. Just come have some fun. We having our leather and lace karaoke party. We having a pool get together. And you got entertainment by me, Jerry B, and my younger brother, Timmy B, doing the show for you guys. So grab your pencil and paper, call Jerry at 920-265-8143, or Pam at 401-368-3275, or John, 703-346-8352. And as always, see you at sea. What's up, folks? How we doing out there in Respect to Talk land? Yeah, this is Jerry B. Called talking to you guys on Respect to Talk. Hey, what's up? I got my nephew Boo in the house. You know, how you doing, man?
How y'all doing?
Yeah, I got Boo shooting from a different location because I don't know what the hell he's doing in the world. You know, he's just out here taking breaks on people and stuff. You know, it's like, man, you're on vacation again?
I wish.
Yeah, right? But anyway, we're glad to be here with you guys today, man. Good to see your face. Do you have a good Father's Day, man?
I did. I spent it at work, the last half of it at work, but I heard from all the kids, got to speak to my dad, so it was a good day.
Oh man, it sounds like what's his name? It said today was a
Ice
good
Cube.
day. Ice Cube
Yeah,
didn't have to use my OK, AK, y'all. You know, don't get
right,
this shit twisted. Up here, Respect to Talk.
right.
You know, it's always a blessing, man. I know my producer had a great time because he got his house full of kids over there too. You know, they all wishing him a happy Father's Day and hanging out with him. I'm gonna have to take a little bit of a breather to fix my screen a little bit in a minute, folks. But that's okay. Sit back, relax, because you already know what time it is. It's welcome back to Respect to Talk. If you're listening right now, do us a favor: like, subscribe, share it with somebody who's not afraid of real conversation. We go live every Tuesday at 5 o'clock, like we are here today. And yeah, we don't really do watered down versions of anything over here. So tap in, stay locked in, and let's get into it. Because today, we've got some things we need to talk about today. What we got, James?
All right, so here's where we're at today. We're starting off with something real grounded. Father's Day, not just the celebration part of it, but what it actually means when you stand up, strip everything down. You're there as a mentor, father figure, stepfather, pet daddy, whatever it is. Then we're going to shift gears a little bit, talking pop culture. Somebody finally watched the Superman movie. Let's just say he had thoughts on it. He's going to have to fill me in on those thoughts, so we'll see about that. After that, we're stepping into politics. The way public figures get framed, why certain names keep popping up in almost every conversation, and how that shapes perception, whether it's good or bad. Then we're breaking down a situation out of DC, the reflecting pool story, conspiracy, or whatever you want to call it, the reaction around it, and why the narrative keeps people so divided. And we're closing it out today talking about the Vice President, J.D. Vance, where he's playing right now, how power dynamics have changed, and what it actually looks like from the outside looking in. So let's do it.
Welcome to Respect the Talk with Jerry B.
Respect the talk. Respect the
everybody. We are back here again. Like I said, with respect to talk, having a good time here with you folks, like we always do. Hey, I hope everybody, like I said, had a great weekend. But we, like James said, we're going to talk about some very interesting things here today, because Father's Day was just this Sunday. And you know what's funny? We spend so much time arguing about politics, culture, all this noise. And then the day like Father's Day comes around and it kind of resets everything for a second. Because at the end of the day, it's simple, really simple. Fathers, grandfathers, stepdads, mentors, the ones who show up, not just financially, but emotionally, mentally, just being there when it matters. And that part gets overlooked way, way, way too often, folks. So, being a father isn't just about providing, it's about presence. It's about teaching somebody how to move through life when you're not in the room anymore. That's the different kind of responsibility. So, if you've been doing that quietly, consistently, you already know it matters more. What matters more, also, than most people will ever say out loud. Now, let's shift gears. Unless James want to talk about that, because being a dad, being a real dad, is like, man, it's some hard work, bro.
It is, man. It is. And like I said, for me, Father's Day this year was great. I got to talk to all of my kids, um, including my stepkids. Um, I've never, I don't usually say it that way. I usually just say my kids,
Right,
period.
right. Yeah, I get it, bro, because I go through that too. So yeah.
So I had to preface it that way, simply because that's one of the reasons why Father's Day are always special for me.
Right.
I usually get a call from my daughter, my daughters, I should say, who always say, "Hey, we appreciate you because you stepped up and you were there even more than our biological. So
Yeah.
thank you." And that always does something for me because I was always taught that the person in the house, the one that's there, is the one. You have to do your part, whether that's your blood or not. That's your family.
Right,
That's
right.
who they're they're there. Um,
They need to be mentored too by you.
exactly,
They need to be mentored too by you. And I know you're hands-on dad because you grew up that way with your dad being a hands-on dad. So
Absolutely.
I mean, and we're not taking anything away from moms, guys, but we rarely talk about dads that much. I know Mother's Day comes around, and I know there's everything is about the mother, which is fine. I'm not hating on the moms. It's all good, but to have the dads finally get some recognition is huge because they deserve. Uh, they do a lot. Dads do a ton. They're there also. So we appreciate the moms, but let's not take away from to the dads because they definitely do their fair share.
Absolutely. And I just watched the skit from Ali Sadiq the other day. And he was saying how Father's Day is the worst holiday there is. It's ranked um, worldwide, it's ranked number 20. So he was saying how it was Christmas and then um, either Christmas or Easter and then Mother's
Mother's Day,
Day.
yeah,
So
yeah, exactly.
Mother's Day is number 2.
Right.
He said, "I can't think of 18 more holidays. So what is really going on?"
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's crazy,
So,
and it ain't. It is nothing. Dads, I guess, don't look for that recognition. They don't. I'm not trying to say everybody else is being, superficial, because they are looking for recognition, but dads just are dads. They're like, okay, Father's Day comes around, and what do you want to do? Go golfing, or some of them like to fire up the grill and cook out. It's more, but a lot of dads on Father's Day, they go golfing, and they just, or, something like that. So it's not like it's a day that they like, oh, my kids, and they love the kids. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know what it is. I think it's we as fathers set that mold because we don't look for having this 15-course meal at Father's Day. Like Mother's Day, you always think taking mom out to dinner and doing all this 15-course meal, and all this early thing. I think that's a natural thing. You always, always do that for Mother's Day. Christ, you can't even get into a restaurant on Mother's Day unless you make a 3-month advance to get a reservation.
Exactly. Here's the thought behind that. I believe those days, those holidays are meant to give you a vacation from your regular duties.
Right.
So mom's regular duties would be cooking, cleaning, that sort of thing. So you want to take her out, get her away from her regular duties.
Yeah, she works her butt off. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. You don't want to cleaning.
Exactly.
She's done that all year for us,
But for us fathers, it's protecting and providing. Our day of rest from that would be to get away,
right.
to escape for one day a year, for us to have no responsibilities,
right.
just to kick back and be leisurely and don't have to worry about being on guard mode.
Right. Well, our producer says it's because being a simple, we don't need a lot. And that's true. We don't. I don't, that's why even our gifts back in the day were ties. Simple shit. Here's a tie, Dad. It's like, okay, how many ties can I wear? So now that we don't wear ties no more, I don't know what the hell they give you now. Probably nothing.
That's what Ali Sadiq was saying. He was like, and the stores have catered to that. So now they're giving you a 3-piece set.
Yeah.
A tie, a belt, and some socks.
Yeah, it's a socks to go with.
So for your birthday, you get the socks or the belt, and then for Father's Day, you get the tie, and then
the match.
If they don't want you to, unless they need them, they give you the socks.
Oh, snap. That is funny, bro. It's funny but true, man. It's like, and then, like I said, we ain't taking nothing from the moms because the moms work their butts off, and cooking and cleaning and actually out there working and putting their hustle in too, trying to do 3 jobs, raise a family, and go out there and put on a 9 to 5, So that's another one of those things we'll talk about later. But yeah, it's crazy, man. It's just crazy. So, hey, I want to talk about something that happened to me this weekend on Father's Day because this is what I did. Okay, I've been waiting and waiting and waiting, okay, to see Superman, okay? And the new Superman. And it was, I'm shifting gears a little bit now, and I didn't want to spend the money because they was asking, going to the theater. One, Tori couldn't go to a theater because of her situation, because she just had a kidney transplant, so can't be around a bunch of people like that. So I said, okay, well, it finally came out. I think it's Amazon where you can watch it for free, or is it whatever? I got it for free anyway because it's part of my package. So I finally sat down to watch it, and I'll be honest. It leaned too heavy into comedy and lost some of that seriousness that used to define the character. And maybe that's just me because I grew up on a different version, the older classics where Superman felt grounded, heavier, more symbolic. This version, it just didn't land the same. It really didn't. But that's the thing about nostalgia, right? We're all watching through a different lens. So maybe it's not that it was bad. Maybe it just wasn't for me. Either way, I'm glad I didn't pay theater prices for it because I probably would have walked out with a different kind of frustration, like pissed off because it was bad to me. I'm sorry. I don't care what nobody say. I didn't like it. Did you see it?
If you're talking about the one with Crypto the dog.
Yeah, Crypto the dog, the new Superman with the dog. That's the new, came out last year.
That's why I was confused. I don't know. I remember the old black and white TV series.
Right, exactly. Yep, Chris. I can't remember his name right now because I wrote it in my thing, but
the old cartoons, the Justice League, the even the movie series, there weren't a lot of them that were dark to me, and I guess that's what you're looking for.
No, no,
You're
no, no,
looking
no, no,
for
no, 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 no. I'm not looking for
the
dark. They
serious
weren't.
dark.
None of Superman was dark. He was the hero, but it wasn't. It wasn't comedy. He was saving the world. He was doing stuff. One, I
I
remember watching Super Dog. There was no damn dog in Superman ever since I grew up. There was a super dog by himself that was a cartoon. I remember Super Dog. It was a cartoon. And then they took a dog and made a super dog in actually the movie. So they took a cartoon and added it to a movie, which I'm like, wait a minute, when the hell was there a super dog in a movie?
Crypto was in some of the comics.
In the comics, never in the movie. How many movies that they made of Superman? They made
They
they made
but
a bunch, and never one super dog was in there. Not one.
but to your point, all of them they've had some. Like I said, the more recent Superman, like when he fought, he lost his memory after being beat up
Yep,
or
yep, I
whatever.
remember that. Yep, and he was a bad
That
Superman.
that one was a dark,
That was a little darker. Yeah, that was a little darker.
but the rest of them had their humor to them. They
Well,
definitely. I mean, come on
I
now, you had
I
Richard
beg to
Pryor.
differ, bro. I beg to differ because I don't remember that
You
much
had
humor in
Richard
these places.
Pryor co-starring in the Superman movie.
Who?
So Richard Pryor.
That's when it went bad. The first I remember seeing the first Superman when I was in college. The first one, phenomenal. Had no humor and he was saving the world. He stopped the cracks in what is the volcano, whatever that crack is in the earth. He was around saving shit, you know. Then they came out with the next one, and I was like, where in the hell are they going with this? And then they brought Richard Pryor in this, and it went way left. Now, mind you, Lex Luthor back then in the first Superman was funny. He was Lex. But that was the only comedic area of that when they broke him out of prison and all this other crap. But then they start adding too much comedy, and I think that's where they went awry. Because then they brought Richard Pryor in there. They started adding too much comedy to it, where this one had all comedy. It was just supposed to be funny. And I didn't see it as being that funny. I mean, and then at the end, they bring in Supergirl to come get her dog, Super Dog. You know, what the hell?
Right, and
Arr?
that's part of the difference between that's part of the difference between the Marvel and the DC world. You know, Marvel tends to be more serious, and the ones that don't have the popularity that Marvel is used to are usually the ones that aren't as dark, aren't as are have more comedy in them. Because when you're talking about like Deadpool is funny. He spends the entire movie and you're laughing at him because he's a character who realizes that he's a character in the movie.
I never watched it. I can actually be honest. So I can't even comment on that. I've seen it.
So
I've seen what's his name, Hugh Jack, whatever his name is. Jackman
and
Wolverine played with him and wanted to do this thing with. I still never watched a Deadpool movie. Never, not once.
and Deadpool is one of the ones that are he's not really a hero per se, but he does good things that he does things to do the right thing.
Right. I guess what I'm getting going at is they're trying too hard to keep doing remakes of movies and instead of coming up with something new. Like even the Batman movies. I mean, think about that. All the Batman movies were now you're talking about dark. Oh my God, they just stayed dark. And it was they gotten worse. They didn't get better, and they had a billion different Batmans. I can't even count on one hand how many Batmans they had. I mean, and Batman went off the track when they had Arnold Schwarzenegger in there as Mr. Freeze. I'm like, what the heck? It was just they just keep trying and trying to make money off of a product instead of just create a brand new product, man. Come on, quit doing the same thing over and over again and expecting people. I'm sorry, I don't do it. Fantastic Four did the same thing. Same thing.
Another DC comic.
Yeah, I know. And they anyway, let's move on, man, because there's some other stuff happening in this crazy world. We just wanted to drop that little tidbit on you guys there. And I love talking to my nephew about that because he likes movies like I do. And we can sit there and talk about movies all day long because that's what we do. Anyway, it's when we got time to sit down and watch movies. But let's talk about this. This is some serious stuff. You ever notice how certain names just stay in the conversation no matter what year it is? Like former President Barack Obama still gets brought up constantly. And depending on who you ask, he's either used as a comparison point or a target. Most of them are targets. It depends on who you're talking to and what area, like Florida. But anyway, and then you got President Donald Trump. The critics will say a lot of the political energy around him seems to circle back to that comparison. It does, because he brings them up 24 hours a day. He eats, sleep, and drink Obama. Now, here's where it gets messy, because people interpret that it in completely different ways, 2 different ways, maybe a bunch of different ways. So some say it's political rivalry, not. Some say it's a messaging strategy, not. Others say it's just how modern politics works. Everything becomes contrast test. But what's interesting is how often the conversation starts being about policy and turns into personality. And that's where things start to drift. Because at some point, you've got to ask, are we focused on governing or are we stuck in constant comparison? And if everything becomes a reaction to the last guy or the guy before that, then where does the actual work happen? That's the question nobody really wants to answer directly. Well, me and you talked about this on a billion different episodes, James, and it's actually, when it comes to that, it's otherisms again, because it's always pointing back at Obama. Look what Obama did. Dude, do you know how many years that was ago? JCPOA, look at, it's like, do you know how many years? Wait a minute. Trump was president after Obama. You guys keep forgetting that for 4 years. 4 years he was president after Obama. What did he do? So if anything needed to be done, and quit blaming it on Obama. And then Biden came in. So now you're still blaming Biden and Obama. And nothing about Trump, because he was in the middle of that, you guys. I mean, I don't get it. Come on, Jay, talk to me, man.
Absolutely, man. I hear it all the time. Biden lives, I'm sorry, Obama lives rent-free in Trump's head. He's the one who keeps bringing up Obama.
Right. Obama don't even talk about the guy.
He doesn't, and it's actually sad, that like I said, he lives rent-free in Trump's head, because it's always, I mean, the narcissism of Trump really stands out.
Right.
It's always somebody else's fault.
Right.
He's always the best, brightest, smartest, strongest superhero there is.
Yeah.
Well, super president there is.
Superhero too, and everybody in the whole world.
Yeah.
Everybody needs to bow down to him.
Yeah. And the fact of the matter is that, everything about what this guy has done through his first and second presidency now has been to undo the legacy of Obama.
Right. Yeah.
And it's quite frankly, he's failed every attempt.
Well, I mean, he can't, because Obama's legacy is not naming buildings. It's not names on pieces of paper. It's who he was. And that's his legacy. And you can't take that away from him. When people think of Obama, they think, man, this guy was passionate. He had charismatic.
Exactly.
I mean, you can't take that back. Not to mention he was black. You can't take that back either. He's the first black president. So yeah, you can get rid of, Obamacare, which is whatever you want to call it. You can get rid of his name on whatever the buildings or bills that he did, but you cannot get rid of 8 years of what the guy did in this country. He didn't only get, and that's the other thing he cannot do. He cannot beat that Obama was elected twice in a row. Oh, he was elected once and got impeached the first time twice. So then he's got elected again just to stay his butt out of jail. But which I don't know how he did that. But anyway, I blame that on those American people and how stupid
Exactly.
we
You
are,
know,
because
it-
that's
like
not
I
his fault.
said,
That's our fault. That's this country's fault for putting it. You seen what that jackass was about the last 4 years, and you turn around and put his dumb ass back in there again for another 4 years. And what did you expect to happen?
exactly. And he'll never compare simply because it was 4 years, and he quite frankly, Obama rose out of the ranks out of nowhere. He
Right?
wasn't
Yeah.
somebody who was he was on the tongue of everybody all the time, and he came out of nowhere, went from a senator, an unknown senator,
Yeah.
to the Oval Office,
Right.
and then during his time period, you know, there was no scandals, there was no
Yeah. No.
impeachments,
No.
there was none of that. There was,
No.
if you talk to most people, it was the last time we could wake up and not stress about what was going on.
Right, exactly. I mean, when he was running, the only thing they could come up with was Reverend Wright. I mean, and tried to compare him to Reverend Wright. I think that's who that pastor was that said some
Yeah,
crazy
yeah.
crap.
Well,
That.
he went to Reverend Wright's church, and during Reverend Wright's church, he during his sermon he said something um divisive and politically incorrect.
Right. So
As
then they
soon
wanted
as
to tie Obama to that.
Exactly. And as soon as Obama heard that message and was confronted with what was said, he distanced himself.
Right.
He stopped going to the church. He he was like,
Right.
okay, and that wasn't my sermon, but I'll, you're right. I'll
Yeah.
stay away from it.
Right.
I don't want anybody to think. Meanwhile, this guy here has all the mega church pastors there are coming in and doing
Praying over him and
like he's some kind of
God.
deity.
Yeah.
Is insane.
Yeah, that's why I pretty much lost all respect for the evangelist churches and stuff. It's like, if you tell me you're an evangelist, I'm like, get away from me. I don't even want to talk to you because you're just as bad as the MAGA people out there. I can't believe you guys would even accept this kind of crap, and you say you're Christians. That's not my type of Christian. That's being a false Christian. And people want to get mad at me when I say that. I don't care. Let me tell you this, folks, right here. I don't care. You're a false Christian. And I'll say that right out point blank. If you voted and pushing for this guy, you're not a real Christian, because real Christians do not do. Now, mind you, I'm not trying to say I'm without fault. I'm not trying to say that I'm not without fault. But what I am trying to say is, you knew who this guy was before you even voted for him, and you did it anyway, just for one thing, so he can overturn Roe v. Wade. Other than that, you didn't give a crap who he was, what he was, how he was. You just do anything to get this guy in there just so he can do that, which means you sold your values and your morals for one thing, and that's sickening.
Exactly. I mean, talk about moving the goalposts, man. These evangelists, they're supposed to care about family values,
Right.
and you voted for a man who's
Well,
been married and divorced twice. I'm sorry, three
times.
Married and divorced twice, and then married a third time. And each time it was to somebody he had an affair with on the previous
Right,
one.
exactly.
The only person listed in the Epstein files more than the person whose the files are named after.
Right. It's Donald Trump. and you still voted for him. You got a
Grab, grab him
13-year-old
by the
girl saying he raped her, and you want to say the hell with that. You still don't care. Anyway,
right. Grab him by
yeah,
the head, man. Uh, adjudicated rapist.
right.
You know,
It's crazy.
everything about him is
Non-Christian.
non-Christian.
Non-Christian. So you voted for a devil in disguise, as Elvis would say. You voted for a
Right.
devil in disguise. Also, you can have your law of non-abortion. You sold your soul just for that, and that is sad. You gave up
Exactly. If
everything
you want
everything you ever believed and went to church for every Sunday morning for one thing: divorce. Abortion. That's all you cared about.
right,
So
literally, let's put it. Let's look at it from this litmus test. He's broken every commandment
everyone,
except for two.
which one?
Honor thy mother and father, because he loved his parents, as
Right.
far as we know, as
Yeah.
far as he's put out there.
Right.
He loved his parents.
Right. Okay.
So honor thy mother and father.
We think he did. So
And
yeah.
exactly. And thou shalt not kill. But that one's kind of iffy because we're talking about the same man who bragged that if he killed somebody on Fifth Avenue. So if you want to look at it that way, thought and deed go hand in hand.
Well, you know what? You can scratch that one, period, because they killed 168 kids over there in Iran and don't give a shit. Nor do they even want to sit there and admit that they did it, and they know they did it. They want to hide that fact. So you can take that one off the plate, and because he did do it, and he don't even talk about that. Most presidents would have been, I am so sorry about this. My hearts and everything go out to the families over there, and I want to find out who each one of those family members are and see what we could do for them, because that is sad. We did not mean to do that. 168 children, they don't even want to admit it. They don't even want to talk about it.
Yeah, and I guess along those same lines, he's also openly said that he would bomb and destroy
And kill people.
many
So
children.
not even care.
And yeah.
Not even
So
care.
so you're right. We're looking at maybe one.
And that's
One.
because of his mom and dad, because they gave him $400 million to start his business. Anyway, let's move on to something else, because this one bites at me too, because this reflecting pool thing, man, and now they try to blame everybody under the sun, and I don't know, maybe we should take a break. As our producer, do we need to take a break or not here, or what do you think, producer? Yeah, we're going to take a real quick break here, folks, and we'll be right back at you in 2 and 2. Stick around. This is Jerry B, my nephew. Tuesday, 5 p.m. Hook us up. Hello, folks. My name is Jerry B from Pride and Glory Travel Cruise Planner, and I'm here to tell you about our Where to Next 2026 vacation calendar. Starting off with May 2nd on Freedom of the Seas, Royal Caribbean, going out for 5 days. Then we're doing our land and air vacation. You asked for it. Here we're going out to Vegas in 6 days over in Hawaii and just having a blast. And this kicks off on June 17th. Then another one you asked for, we head back out to Alaska again on July 26th on the beautiful ship Celebrity Edge. Then in October, another trip you asked for. We heading over to Aruba and Carousel. This is going out October 17th on Allure of the Seas. And then our biggest trip of the year is on Allure of the Seas, November 29th, which is our hog biker cruise. You don't need to be a hog or biker to attend. Just come have some fun. We having our leather and lace karaoke party. We having a pool get together. And you got entertainment by me, Jerry B, and my younger brother, Timmy B, doing the show for you guys. So grab your pencil and paper, call Jerry at 920-265-8143, or Pam at 401-368-3275, or John, 703-346-8352. And as always, see you at sea. All right, folks, we're back, like I said, in 2 and 2. Let's get to this segment, couple of segments here, because we're going to talk about this reflecting pool thing, because it's really irritating me. So this one is out of Washington and has been making the rounds, the reflecting pool situation. There's been a lot of back and forth about what actually happened, what caused the damage, and how the response was handled. Officials described it as vandalism and announced repair work, while others pointed out that there were structural and maintenance concerns tied to recent work and contractors' involvement. And then you got public reaction splitting right down the middle like it always does. It always does. One side saying this is unacceptable, someone needs to be held accountable. The other side saying, hold on, what exactly are we looking at here? Is this really vandalism or is this poor execution being framed a certain way? And in the middle of it all, that makes a lot of noise, a lot of assumptions, and not a lot of clarity. And that's what makes this situation so hard to follow in real time, because once a label gets attached to something, it spreads fast, even before full picture settle. So now you got people arguing not just about what happened, but about what they think happened. And the gap, that's where trust starts getting tested. And this is where things come in crazy, folks, because just like I know, he's trying to say, well, they got 5 people in custody. And damn well if they had 5 people in custody, their names would be out there unless they were under the age of 18. You know that. You know that because he would make sure that people know these people. He put that 3-time Olympian name out there, and all he did was touched it. So why wouldn't you put the other 5 people's name out there then if that was the case? And they would have done it because he's done it before. Talk to me, James. What do you think, man? This is all BS.
Exactly. Right? The 5 people that they have in custody are people, I believe, that are, and I've seen several clips of them, people who are going to take souvenirs of the peeling bottom.
Right. Yeah.
And that's the 5 people that they have in custody. That's the vandalism that they're talking about.
Right. Yeah.
But you got people out there who believe.
Look at them. They did it. They did it. Yeah, they did it.
Yeah, they believe what they see after somebody created some AI video. The one that I saw that I had to laugh at was people were actually convinced that this was real, but it showed Obama in his tan suit standing there pouring some green muck into the pool, and then somebody else added to it. Yeah, but if you look at it closely, he was doing the right thing because he was walking on water while he was doing it.
Oh my God, that's too funny.
And then show his foot actually standing on the water itself.
Yeah.
So, but there's a lot of people out there who believe that this was real somehow.
Yeah, well, it worked. Trump posted the work would begin immediately on fixing the seriously vandalized reflecting pool. I just inspected it, he said. He just inspected it. And and only could say to himself and those guys that are around him, wow, who would do such a thing? Sick, deranged people. We will fix it. President DJ Trump, DJT. Olympian David Hurd was arrested, David said. I saw a piece of this loose of the blue coating. This is what he said. The Olympian. I reached out and touched the end of that piece that was loose, but still attached to the bottom. Hearn told ABC News, I was able to reach out and touch the edge of that, which was still attached at the bottom, and handled it a little bit. That's what he got arrested for. And that's what they're doing with all these other people out there, is they're not doing anything. They didn't do anything. He just wants to use that as a ruse, another grift that he does to all people, and it's driving them, And here's the crux of this, because we didn't talk about this, James. We got to talk about this. We cannot let this go past. We have to talk about this. The Obama Museum.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Huge. So all while they talking about a reflecting pool that went to shit, you got the Obama Museum.
Exactly. And before we get away from the reflecting pool, I just want to.
No, to me, that's all a part of this conversation with reflecting pool and Obama Museum, because how beautiful that a museum is, and a reflecting pool that went to shit.
Exactly. Because
They
were supposed to be revealed about the same time,
yeah.
And that was supposed to have been his moment to outshine the Obama,
right?
And 100%, the reflecting pool, the this weekend was just supposed to take away from Obama all the way
Yeah.
around. The reflecting pool reveal, and then the end of the war in that
Right.
summit.
Yep. Yep.
All that was supposed to take away from
Obama's museum opening.
Obama and Juneteenth.
Yep.
So and failed spectacularly on
Yep.
both accounts.
Yepper. Yes,
And,
sir.
and that's what I was saying earlier. Every time he tries to outdo Obama, rather than trying to do what's right for the people of this country, he fails spectacularly and looks even more the jerk.
Yeah.
You know, because the reflecting pool. Let's break it down in its simplest form. The reflecting pool wasn't even something that anybody cared about
Nobody even thought about
as
it.
far as its condition.
Right.
It was known as a monument, period.
Right.
And everybody was fine with that. The cleaning of it, there was routine maintenance done on it to
Right.
clean it up. And because ducks are nasty critters and the reflecting pool is actually rather shallow. So yes, there had to be routine cleaning on it. But like you said, he had to outshine. He had to do something to take away. So
because Obama
the
remodeled
reflecting,
it 10 years ago, you
right?
know, and
So the
he had some
reflecting
pumps,
pool,
new pumps put in and everything at that time, which Trump ripped out, you know, to try to keep the algae down, you know, again, trying to outdo Obama, trying to just, oh, Obama did it. Yep, I'm redoing it again.
and again, the grift is in. So he hired one of his friends, neighbors,
Yep.
supporters
Yep.
to do the job. Who just recently got into the field.
Yeah, they had no clue what they were doing.
Right. He was a construction guy who didn't do anything with pools. He and I think he started out as something else. He got into construction less than 5 years ago. And then he got into this whole pool maintenance thing just over a year ago. So you're 100% correct. He had no idea what he was doing,
No clue.
and way over his head. But he was a buddy.
Yeah,
He was
which
a supporter. So there you go.
Yeah.
Then we have the whole situation where he didn't know what he was doing. He didn't have the right materials. He got a hold of somebody who said, "Hey, if you can put our name in it, we'll be included." And that was the Rhino Liner folks.
Right.
Rhino Liner is a truck bed coating, and it's a form of epoxy. Well, we've joked around about it, but I'm building an enclosure to house an iguana. So epoxy is something that I've recently learned about.
Right.
And in some cases, you have to wait 28 to 30 days for it to fully cure.
Right. But no, it's absolutely ludicrous to say that, because here's the deal. When me and my wife redid our pool, okay, when we bought the house 3.5 years ago. I mean, they really drained the pool, resurfaced the pool with a beautiful bottom. But I mean, they got material for that. Then after they did that, they bought. I had to have a couple. I think they brought 3 truckfuls of water, salt water, because my pool is a salt pool, and they filled my pool back up. Pool is still gorgeous right now today, and we had the interior surface redone all around the edges. Had the whole pool redone. Hell, you could have called. Hey, Trump, let me tell you something. If you hadn't got rid of a lot of those Mexicans, because that's who did my pool, you'd have had a great pool down there in Washington, you know, because they hooked me up. I'm telling you right now, they hooked me up, and my pool still looks beautiful after 3.5 years. And I don't have no leaks. I don't have no stains. I don't have shit peeling up. You know? And I mean, shit, my pool is over 10,000 gallons. I think it's like maybe 20,000 gallon pool. You know, they fixed my shit with no problem. See, you should have had the Mexicans do your shit. Instead of your buddies from Pennsylvania, whoever, don't know what the hell they doing.
Hey, and it's terrible, man. The lengths this guy goes through for the grift and the fame.
Yeah, it's a sickness, and the people follow him. It's like I don't know when would they ever freaking wake up and say, "Wait a minute, I've been in the fog all this time. This guy is just, oh my God, I can't, I just don't get it." And when I listen to somebody talk about they support them, I just think to myself, I don't even argue with people no more because it don't go nowhere. I just look at them and say, "God, you gotta be the dumbest son of a bitch ever walked the face of the earth." I'm sorry. Because I mean, I can't say you're a smart person. I just can't. It's no way in the world, I can do that. Anyway, let's talk about something that.
Wait.
Go,
And it came to my mind
go-
as a song, and I think to myself,
what a wonderful, yeah,
what an ignorant
yeah,
you.
right, exactly. Well, this is something that's been getting on my goat too because we're gonna talk about JD Vance because people got mad at Kamala Harris, and I keep telling people this because this happened with all vice presidents. They got mad at Kamala Harris because they had Kamala Harris on The View. And what's her name? I can't think of her name. As Kamala, well, what would you do different than Joe Biden? And she said, I wouldn't do anything different. I mean, so then everybody got in an uproar. Even Republican Party said, look what she said. Look at what she said. Democratic Party lost their goddamn mind too. Look at what she said. Look at what she said. She wouldn't do anything different and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, dude, she's the vice president. What do you expect her to say? You want her to throw the president, which is her boss, under the bus? I mean, no vice president has done that ever since I've been born. I've seen vice presidents get thrown under the bus, but no vice president throw a president under the bus. I've seen that in movies where presidents threw vice presidents under the bus because it's always the vice president's fault. But guess what's happening? This last one gets into political positioning and perception because you got J.D. Vance, Vice President J.D. Vance, right now in a role where everything he says and does is going to be viewed through a very specific lens. And critics argue, whether fair or not, that in these kinds of power structures, the vice president often becomes the buffer. Just talked about that. The people who absorb pressure when decisions get controversial, and the person who reinforces messages from the top. That's what he does. That's what a vice president does. That's not unique to one administration. That's just how politics tend to function. Then you also got Secretary of State Marco Rubio, who his ass should be over there doing this instead of vice president in the mix, which adds another layer because now you're talking about foreign policy, messaging, and how unified or not unified the public facing strategy looks. And here's the bigger picture people keep circling back to. When leadership shifts directions quickly, or when messages change, the people underneath that are ones who have to adjust in real time. Excuse me. Supporters call that flexibility. Critics call it instability. And depends on where you stand, you're going to see it completely differently. But what's consistent either way is this: the closer you are to the center of power, the less room you have to define your own narrative. You're reacting more than you are leading the message. And that's the tension people keep picking up on. Whether they say it loud or out loud or not, that's the message. So, what my point was, like I said earlier, JD Vance is caught in the same thing Kamala Harris was caught in. What do you expect him to say? What do you? He's got to follow whatever his boss wanted him to do. That's what a vice president does. Period. Full stop. You know,
Exactly.
uh, what was it? I can't
Exactly.
I can't think of a damn name on the View to answer that dumbass question. I'm still mad. Sunny Hostin. I'm still mad at her dumb ass for even asking that question. What do you expect her to say? And then you threw her under the bus like that because her response was exactly what it should have been. That is my boss. That's just like you going to your job at Sam's, I think it is, and you're telling everybody and throwing your boss under the bus because you're acting like, well, he's doing this wrong and he's doing this wrong and he's doing this wrong. What do you think is going to happen? You're not going to do that to your own boss because you know your ass will get fired. Your job is to do what your boss asks you to do, not go complain about what he's telling you to do and you don't like it and blah, blah. They tell you don't like it, go get another job.
Yeah, actually, and I agree. But my issue with this whole thing and the power dynamic of JD Vance is that this president is sending him off on missions that are expected to fail.
Right.
So and that's the problem. So going on the View is looked at by women across the country. Trump is failing all across the board, let alone with women. There are very few women that support this guy now.
Right.
You know, because women are usually the ones who are doing the shopping, so they see the economy for what it is.
Right.
They're the ones buying gas to run the kids around. They
Mhm.
see what gas prices are.
Right.
You know, so he's not doing well with women. So going on the View was a failed mission. That was a suicide mission from word go.
Right. Yeah.
Going overseas to this commitment ceremony, that was a failed mission because he had put the agreement out there and then tweeted that this was a bad deal. You
Yeah.
know, he tweeted basically that something stupid.
Right. Yeah.
So JD Vance was walking into some folks that already didn't appreciate the situation. In fact, the right person to send would have been the person who started this and with bombing them
Right.
to show to show some remorse.
Right.
That would have been the correct thing to do.
Right.
That would have showed the Iranian government, hey, look, we screwed up. I'm not going to send my number 2. I'm not going to send my number 3. I'm coming because this is important.
Right.
We need to get this thing settled.
Right.
That's who should have won.
Yeah.
Him, exactly. Not the number 2, especially not the number 2 after you tweeted something stupid overnight.
Right. And his little running buddies, his son-in-law and his little whatever that character is, the builder. That's a friend. They don't even work for the United States, and they going over there trying to crack a deal with them, and they said they don't want to see nobody but JD Vance now. They just wouldn't even talk to what's his son-in-law's name, Jared Kushner, and Jared Kushner and the other guy that because neither one of them work for the United States. He's just flying them all over the world like they're, I don't know, like they can make a deal. And here's the thing, man. JD Vance is getting set up for the okie doke because the Secretary of State is Marco Rubio, and he's supposed to be handling United States affairs overseas. Think about this. Hillary Clinton went to all those places and sat down with leaders of all those countries because guess what? She was the Secretary of State. That's what the Secretary of State does. He's sending his vice president over there to do that while Marco Rubio's sitting on his ass over here doing other stuff, looking good, hanging out with Trump on TV every day. So needless to say, JD Vance is getting set up to fail for not running for president because he won't make it because of what he's doing over there now. And Marco Rubio sitting out there looking like a king standing behind Trump. When his butt should be overseas. If anything, he should be over there with the vice president, not Jared Kushner and that Whiting guy, whatever his name is. That Secretary of State and the vice president, both of them, to have their butt over there trying to work this deal out. But
exactly.
Nope, Marco's sitting over here just kissing Trump's sucking on his trying to get ahead in life as a Cuban American, which they should take his ass back over there to Cuba.
I think that's a big part of it. Marco Rubio is not what they would call a true American. Marco Rubio is of Cuban descent.
Right.
He's not the white boy.
No, he's Cuban American, and he's out here trying to perpetrate like he got it like that, and he's from Florida too, and he just and I'd sit there and watch what's her name, Anna Navarro. She said they used to be best friends. She'd never seen somebody change so quickly. She said he was the easiest person in politics here in Florida, even when he was in politics in Congress here in Florida, because her and him worked together. And she said he had a mission. He was in the right zone. All of a sudden, he get with Trump, and he just changed. And that happens to everybody that get with Trump. They change, then they die. He kills any and everything that happens to everybody. He just I don't know, man.
Politically die.
Yeah, they just politically die because he brings you into a fold, and you like an idiot sit there and agree with him when Marco Rubio could have stayed in Congress, but his ambitions is way too high. Way too high. And the man talked about Marco Rubio's dad like a dog.
Mm-hmm.
Said his dad was a something Cuban something spy and something else, and what is it?
It had something to do with the Kennedy assassination.
His dad did, right? And it's like, dude, how can you hang out with a guy sitting there throwing your own pops under the bus? And then he called who was it? Somebody else's wife ugly. I mean, this guy just everything, and you guys sat there and kissed his butt. I was like, what the hell is wrong with you people? Anyway,
But that's all part of the narcissism that, if this president can get his claws into you and make you bend the knee, then he can treat you like the puppy.
Well, yeah. Or puppet, period, because that's what you are. It's a little puppet to them. And every one of them are doing it.
Yeah.
Every one of them are doing it because they're scared.
It's sad.
They're scared.
I mean, come on, man up. Some of y'all got a man up.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy, man. But hey, but it is what it is, man. Hey, it was a great show today, man. Did you have fun today?
I did.
Good. Now you can go back home and get your real background behind you instead of being out on where the hell you at.
That's just it. I am home, man. This is the real home background. Wife is gonna kill me because we had some technical difficulties. Couldn't get the studio background up, and it is what it is. Like,
well, you could have said what I said, left it like it was, so you didn't have to put your wife on point blank like that. On point.
The problem is that she knows the truth. So whether she knows the truth and nobody else knows, she knows the truth. And like I told you before the show, next week when y'all don't hear from me, send the guys from the morgue, because
she killed you putting her out there on point. Because you could have just left it like I told you was somewhere else. But no, you had to open your mouth and say something about it.
I'm telling you, it wouldn't have mattered. She would have known.
It doesn't make a difference. Not all of America, the people that watch our show, the 200-some people that watch our show wouldn't have known. Now you just threw her out there saying, oh my God, look at that girl's house.
You do not know Kiki Arnold Burton. You obviously don't know her. Like I said,
I had to call her now. Now I got to call her.
If I'm not here on next week's show, you know why.
Yeah, I'm about to call her now.
Just send her something.
I'm telling you, man.
Somewhere,
crazy, bro.
Somebody knows about the plot, my Graves plot. Just work on all of that.
You know it. You're crazy, bro. Hey, we got to get up out of here, folks. Thank you for joining in with us, man. It was a blast. I hope you guys enjoyed the show this week. We'll see you again next Tuesday at 5 o'clock. And if you missed the show, check it out. You can always see this show again if you want to continue laughing with us and show it to somebody else, because this show is on repeat throughout the week. So you can always pull it up and pre-watch it again if you like, and show it to your friends. Have them join in with us. Other than that, folks, you guys take care and have a safe and blessed rest of your week. See you back here next Tuesday. Peace out.
Love y'all.
Welcome to Respect the Talk with Jerry B.